Hi, my name is Karen Sliwinski. I'm an independent demonstrator from Northeast Ohio. So I have moved into my temporary apartment. So I now live in downtown Cleveland. Actually, it's in the Flats area. So if you're familiar with Thirsty Dog and Beerhead, we are right upstairs from there. So it's pretty exciting. So anyway, I'm going to be showing you a pretty cool technique today, and it's based on some Japanese art where they repair their pottery and they use lacquer where they've had gold or silver or copper or other metallics that have been mixed in with the lacquer. So they've taken something that's broken and made it even more beautiful. And so this is called kintsugi, and I'm going to be showing you a technique using that with our gold leafing. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope also that you like this video, that you give me a thumbs up and you share it with your friends. And if you need any of the supplies that I've used today, I would love it if you shopped at my store. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to get started. All right. The set I'm going to use today is called the Quiet Meadow Bundle. It's brand new. It just came out in our catalog that was released on May 4th, and it has dies that go with it. And this is really what sold me on this set. I love these dies. They just make beautiful silhouettes of all kinds of meadow flowers. And the stamp set is lovely too. It's got some really nice sayings with it. So this is what we're going to be using. I'm going to set that aside. And I am going to be using the Beauty of the Earth. It's a new designer series paper that came out. I'm going to be using this green one here, but I think this technique would look lovely with this blue color as well. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to show you the card that we're going to make. Like I mentioned in the introduction, this is based on a Japanese art form, and if you've seen their pottery done with this kintsugi technique, it is just stunning. And most of the time I think it's done with gold, but you could be done with other metallics. And I'm going to be using our gold leaf. So the technique is a little bit messy. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. And it's going to take a little bit of time in between some of the steps. So I'm going to be stopping my video and pausing it while some of the glue dries. So just to let you know that that is going to be happening. But this is just a lovely card. And I'll just show you what the inside looks like right now. So to begin with, we need a piece of basic white. So I have scored this ahead of time. This is our thick basic white. Normally I just use the regular whisper white, but so many people have loved using this, I decided to try it, and I really do like the weight of this for your card base. So I think I'm going to be switching over to that for most of my cards. And then we are going to need a piece of that designer series paper. This is 3.5 by 4 3/4, and then we need to mat that with some Mossy Meadow. So this one is going to mat like this. So that is 3 3/4 by 5. And I have cut ahead of time one of those silhouettes. This is cut from our gold foil. So I just did that to save some time. And this is just an extra little strip that we could decorate, as you saw before, for the inside. And then we need just a little bit of a 1/2 inch strip of the white, the basic white. And then I will be using my banners Pick-a-Punch so that we can trim that out. So those are the supplies that we need. We also need Mossy Meadow ink, so I'm going to pull that out. So to begin, what you need is a scrap of paper to protect your work surface. And then we are going to be using liquid glue. And you want to use a very fine line of the glue. And we're just going to be drawing some lines onto our designer series paper. It doesn't really matter, but what we're doing is replicating, you know, a broken edge. And it's really helpful if you can do a thin line. It dries faster. And I just think it looks better. It looks a little bit more like the Japanese art form. So let's just do. And then I think I'm going to do a little bit more over here. And this is just totally up to you where you put that. So that is our glue on that piece. And while I'm here, I'm gonna look, I have missed this little bit of this edge, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more glue there. And then I'm gonna add a little bit to this piece here so that I can do it for the inside. All right, so now what we have to do is pause the camera and let this dry almost completely, and then we're gonna get into our gold leafing. So I'm gonna stop this and I'll come back in just a few minutes. Okay, I am back. So you can see that it's just about dry. It kind of gets that little clear look, so I'm gonna move that out of the way. And then I'm gonna bring in my gold leafing. Now, gold leafing comes in this container, and it's all this beautifully, I don't know what this is made out of, but it's just like the lightest of flakiness of gold. It's just beautiful. A little goes a long way. So what I've taken is a container, and this, I like this because the bottom is square. Some of the other containers that I have rounded corners, and I have just put some of the gold leafing into this. Now, warn you, you do not want to sneeze or cough or have a fan going or anything that would blow this around, because this is super lightweight. And I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna just dip it into the gold leafing, and you're gonna see it fly all over the place. And so you just wanna make sure you get it into the areas where you have your glue, and then you can see how these leaves will come apart. So this will flake off, and you're going to only be left with a little bit of what you need. So I just like to press it in with my fingers. Okay. And kind of knock off some of the excess just right here into the container. And I'm going to do that with this other little piece as well. So just dip this in, and it's really kind of nice because the smallest bits in here are quite usable. So you're just going to press that in. Okay. And then what I like to do is take a toothbrush and then just kind of wipe off some of the excess. And you're going to see that's why I wanted you to have a nice fine line, because that is where this is going to adhere, and it's going to look just like the pieces of pottery. All right, and then just scrape it off the edge, and we're going to do the same thing with this. Some people like to use a sponge, and you could just take that and quarter it or sixth it, but I really have found I like the toothbrush. It's not too harsh of a bristle, and it just seems to clean up the edges pretty nicely. Now we also have heat and stick powder. It's similar to like an embossing powder that you can use with this gold leafing. And I've done some other cards with that, and then you would stamp your design, and then you would heat emboss it, or not heat emboss it, you would use a heat tool just like you were embossing, and it gets sticky, and then you can apply your gold leaf to your design. So if you had a sentiment or you had a floral image, anything that you wanted to do that you could do with like an embossed image, you could do with this heat and stick powder, and then use your gold foil. So this is just another way to use your gold leafing. So I think that looks very nice. A little bit more there. Like I said, it is messy. You're going to get it on your hands. You're going to get it everywhere. So I'm going to just try to get it off my fingers the best I can. And then I'm going to put this cover back on. And then we're going to get this out of the way. All right, so now we are getting ready to assemble. So what we need is our sentiment, and I have that, Thinking of You. to ink this up and hopefully get that nice and straight. Oh, that looks really good. Sometimes when you're on camera, it's really hard to get things straight. So I'm gonna close this up. And then I'm just gonna grab my little mini trimmer and I'm going to trim this end here. And then I'm gonna use my punch to go ahead and trim or flag this end. So I'm gonna tuck that in. And I like to do that from underneath so I can see it. I'm just gonna give that a little bit of a flag. So that looks great. Then we can take our gilded piece, move my stuff out of the way, and then I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue. And we're gonna mount this. And I think that mossy meadow just sets that off beautifully. And then I have my flower. And so I actually trimmed mine a little bit from the bottom. So I am going to use some mini dimensionals. Let's see, I think I have some that are, I've got the edges. Since this is a fairly small area, I am just going to cut some very thin pieces here. That's the nice thing about using the edges of your dimensionals, is that you get to use, you can cut it to any shape that you want. And I think I'm going to put one of those skinny ones up near the top. I do think I need one more skinny one over here. And then maybe I'll cut it from the sides a little bit, not as wide. I'm going to put this under the bulb there, and I think that should be pretty good. So peel these off, make sure that that one is hidden from sight. Take all our backings, and then I am just going to position this there, and then I am going to turn this over and use my snips and just trim it off to the end. Okay, then on the banner, I'm just going to add 3 mini dimensionals. Make that nice and balanced. And peel the backings off. And I'm going to stick that. I think I'm going to tuck it underneath that a little bit. So doesn't that look beautiful? It's a really simple classic design. And then we are going to take our card base, which we've already scored, and then we are going to pop this up. So I'm going to get this a brand new thing of dimensionals. I love it. I go through these, as you would imagine, quite a bit. So, and I'm going to add a couple more. Give those a good press and peel off the backings. And then at the end of this video, I have a couple other cards. I'm going to show you what were some additional inspirations for this card. Okay, so that is our card. And then all I have to do is trim this down, and I'm going to put this on the inside of my card. And so I'm going to show you, oh, you know, I think I need to go get the other card. I left it out in the kitchen. It was actually a card from one of my best friends and my downline. So I'm going to go get that, and I will be right back. Okay, I am back. And this is the card from my best friend Penny. And it was actually based on an idea that we had done at a card class that I had last month. So I'm going to show you that card. So this is the card that we made in the class, and we tore the paper, and then we added glue along the edge and then added the gilded leafing. So from this idea, she took, she did the alcohol technique that I did in my last video or one before that, I can't remember. I think it was the one before that, where I used vellum and I used our blends and then rubbing alcohol. And so she did a background design, and then she added the glue and did the gold leafing on the front. So I thought that was beautiful. That was sort of the other inspiration. And so then I did another card with the alcohol techniques. And these are three of our new in colors. So I've used Pale Papaya, and then I used both the light and the dark shades of the Polished Pink, and then I used Fresh Freesia. And I thought that that came out really, really pretty. So it's a sort of a combination of what Penny did and what I did a few weeks ago, and this Kintsugi technique. So I hope that you have liked this. I'm going to bring out the cards so you can see them. And I hope that you give it a try, because it's really, really fun. Like I said, it's a little bit messy, but it is well worth it. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you really soon. Bye.